Yeah, hi guys.
Welcome to Grammar Game Time. I'm Mike Caruso, not Tom. Today we're zoning in on Laura Jenkins, who's
Salut Steven. So sorry about that, it was a bit erratic. I had some problems with my camera, so I hope now it's sorted, and I hope we don't have too much buffering time as well. Hopefully it'll be okay. Yeah, and I hope that you can hear me as well properly, and that we can start as soon as possible. So, if you got any questions, feel free to ask me, and then we can start. We can start the live. Salut, Denzel. So, how's it going? Do you have any... Ça va? Des questions? Est-ce que vous avez des questions sur, sur ce que vous voulez en fait? N'importe quoi, des questions sur, sur ce que vous avez appris avant. So yeah, I'm happy to answer anything you want, guys. Just let me know, and I will try to answer as So is it okay? Is the live okay? Is it not? I don't know. The sound is fine. Just tell me, please, on the chat if you can hear me fine and if the video is fine as well, like the image. So then we can move on, because it's kind of a new setting I'm trying right now. So I'm not sure it works very well. So please explain n'importe quoi again. So n'importe quoi. It's from here, n'importe quoi. And that means it doesn't matter what, that it's not important what. So that would mean whatever in English, whatever, whichever. So if you want to say, for instance, that could be an answer to the question, for instance, what do you want to eat? N'importe quoi, whatever, not anything, yeah, anything. So n'importe quoi, and then you can decline it. You can say n'importe quand, n'importe où, n'importe comment. Yeah, so n'importe quand, whenever, n'importe où, wherever, n'importe comment, and this idea of it doesn't matter how. So for instance, when do you want me to come? quand est-ce que tu veux que je vienne? You can answer n'importe quand, whenever, it doesn't matter when. Où est-ce que tu veux manger? So where do you want to eat? N'importe où, wherever you want, yeah, n'importe où. Now you need to know that n'importe quoi et n'importe comment, I would say it depends on how you say them, because for instance if I say n'importe quoi, it could means because it means kind of like random things, like whatever, it doesn't matter what. So it's this idea of random things. So now it has a meaning as well of the idea of something stupid. So if I say for instance ne dis pas n'importe quoi, that would mean that don't tell stupid things. Okay, so what you're saying is stupid right now. Don't tell stupid things. Yeah, ne dis pas n'importe quoi. Okay, or if I say, for instance, oh c'est n'importe quoi. Yeah, that's stupid. That doesn't make it doesn't make sense. Yeah, c'est n'importe quoi. So literally, it's kind of like it's not important, so it's random. So therefore, it becomes it has the meaning of like it's stupid. Same with n'importe comment. If you do something improperly, then I can reproach you that you are doing things improperly, and then I might say, oh, ne fais pas ça n'importe comment. So don't do it in a random way, in a random manner. So then you will have this kind of pejorative meaning, so something that is not good. So if you say n'importe comment, so it depends on how you say it. It could have another meaning. So you have to be careful about n'importe quoi, n'importe comment. These ones are a bit more neutral. Mais n'importe qui as well exists, of course, n'importe qui, whoever. So who is invited to your party? N'importe qui. Yeah, whoever. It doesn't matter who literally. But once again, n'importe qui could have a bit of this a random person on the street. So that's what you might say to your kid. If you want to warn your kids, says don't talk to a stranger, don't talk to a random person on the street, then I would say ne parle pas à n'importe qui. So n'importe qui being a random person, being potentially a dangerous person. So the meaning is slightly different depending on how you use it and how you say it. But yeah, so that's n'importe qui, n'importe quoi. All good. Shall we open the can of worm and discuss the French presidential election? Just kidding. It's normal everyday language or derogatory to be rude? No, it's normal and it's totally acceptable. So this n'importe quoi, n'importe comment is in fact no. I mean, it's a good correct French. I mean, it's not rude at all. It's not rude at all. But as I said, n'importe quoi could mean random things. Therefore, it's not good because stupid. Because so. Without being rude, you have an expression in English to say these things. Yeah, that's stupid. That's yeah. So doesn't make sense. So that's what we're gonna use. About the presidential elections, just give me 1 second. So yeah, because I'm French, I've received these political brochure leaflets because of course I could vote here. Even if I'm living in London, I could vote here for the French presidency elections. So presidential elections. So these are the leaflets, and as you may know, all of these ones, they have lost the first round. So now we end up with only 2 candidates for the second round, which is Emmanuel Macron. Yeah, so his name is Macron, okay, not macaron, okay. So please don't pronounce macaron. Yeah, it's Macron. And Marine Le Pen. So Marine Le Pen. So 2 candidates, and these are their brochure, I would say. Macron. And then Le Pen here and here. So yeah, I'll try to stay as politically neutral as possible, as you may imagine. But I can answer a few questions if you want, and then we can try to talk about it. It's not. Sorry, I'm French beginner, but was doing my homework. That what kind of color do you like? Quelle couleur est-ce que tu aimes? Is that correct? Is it la couleur le bleu ou le bleu? So if you want to ask about the color, quelle couleur est-ce que tu aimes? C'est quelle couleur est-ce que tu aimes? Don't forget the est-ce que. Yeah. So quelle couleur? That's good. Est-ce que? Yeah. Is it that? Also this question tool, as I like to call it. So don't forget est-ce que. And then you can say tu aimes, as you wrote, that's correct. And the answer, j'aime la couleur bleue. So j'aime la couleur, and then you saying la couleur bleue. But instead of saying j'aime la couleur bleue, in fact, you can make it more simple and saying j'aime le bleu. J'aime le bleu. I like blue. Rather than saying j'aime la couleur bleue, it sounds a bit. Don't say j'aime la couleur rouge, it's more like j'aime le rouge. So j'aime le bleu. That's it. Because couleur is feminine. Yeah, that's true. So la couleur bleue would be a feminine, but most of the time we're saying this. J'aime le bleu, j'aime le rouge. Rather than saying j'aime la couleur rouge ou j'aime le noir, j'aime le blanc, j'aime le bleu, j'aime le rouge, which is a bit more intuitive, I would say. J'aime le bleu. Yeah. So don't forget est-ce que in your question, yeah. Otherwise it becomes a bit it becomes incorrect. Or you need to swap the verb and the subject. So instead of saying what you said, you could have said quelle couleur aimes-tu? You swap the verb and the subject, and that's correct. If you don't want to swap, for any reasons, if you don't want to swap, then you have to add est-ce que. Okay? Otherwise is grammatically incorrect. So you need to have that. Yeah, you need to be careful about that. And j'aime le bleu as an answer. So about the presidential elections, if you got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And then, and yeah, I mean, I can try to answer your questions about the French presidency. If you don't necessarily know how it works, or if you don't know the candidates and you want me to talk a bit more about the candidates and stuff, you can just ask me questions and I'll try to answer. I am personally. Can I say I'm a fan of politics, so I personally I would say watch a lot of debates and related program, related politics programs. So I know I don't want to be arrogant, but I know quite a lot of about French politics, to be fair. More than maybe a usual person, because I love that and I'm watching a lot. It was very needed for my previous job, and I continue to watch a lot of political debates and stuff like that. So to be fair, I know quite a lot of about French politics. So if you want to ask me, I'll be glad to answer some of your questions, because I know politics can be a bit complicated, especially if it's not your country. So if you got, we don't need necessarily to go too much in details, but if you want to have a quick chat about the French politics and these French elections, feel free to ask me. Yeah, is the sound okay, guys? Because I've got the feeling that the sound is not really amazing. So if the sound doesn't really work well, because when I try to listen to my to myself, then I've got a bit of a weird sound. So if that doesn't work, then we may need to use something else, and eventually I may use my phone once again, because it doesn't really work really well. I'll ask if we don't have as many questions today. I think it's good to discuss some cultural stuff as well. Yeah, Steven, feel free to ask me. I mean, it's just 8 of you anyway, so just feel free to just, throw questions at me and I'll try to answer them. Try not to talk for too long, but yet, if you got any questions, feel free. But please tell me if the sound is okay, because I've got the feeling that it's not. So it's not amazing. I've bought this new camera, but somehow it doesn't really work very, very well. So yeah. So any question, guys? Anything really? Sound is good, okay. Picture 2, alright for me as well. Okay, so I'm glad. I'm glad that it works fine then for you. So any questions or anything? Any questions about anything really? Let's go, guys. Let's start. Bonjour, Janice. So as I said, for some of you who just joined us, these are the two candidates. Okay, so Marine Le Pen and Emmanuel Macron. Could you talk again about liaison, please, particularly exceptions? Okay. So liaison, as we said, liaison is always tricky because I never remember the rules of liaison because I never learned them when I was a kid. So it comes a bit intuitive, if you know what I mean. So, and because I'm not teaching that often to my students, I'm always struggling to remember the rules. So which were what are the rules? The rule is that you will make a liaison if you got consonant and of course a vowel. So for instance, with subjects and verbs, you have to have a liaison. So ils ont, you will have a liaison, yeah. You do between adjectives and nouns. Okay. So for instance, you would say grand enfant, so grands enfants. Here you will link. Yeah. So this is an adjective and this is a noun. Non, okay. Adjectif non. But you won't do it if you have a noun and an adjective. So for instance, you would say le président américain. And here you won't do this liaison. You won't say le président américain. You would say le président américain. Okay. You won't do a liaison with a. There's no liaison after, regardless. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it, to be fair with you. Adverb, adjective as well, you do a liaison. So if you have an adverb and an adjective, for instance, très aimable. So very nice, very kind, very amiable. So here you do have to use this liaison, très aimable. C'est très aimable. That's very kind of you. C'est très aimable. So you will link. So you will link this. After plus, for instance, so which is an adverb by the way, so it works exactly the same idea here. Plus, if it's followed by an adjective starting with a vowel, plus aimable, then you would pronounce it, and in fact you would make a liaison as well, plus aimable. So adverbs, adjectives, as I said, adjective nouns, but not nouns, adjectives, okay, and then sujet, so pronom sujet, verb, and the famous one is you don't do with a, so there's no liaison with a, never. So j'ai un frère et une sœur, and you won't make the liaison here, et une sœur. Yeah. So that's it really. I think that's pretty much what I can tell you about this liaison. If you get that already sorted, then seriously that would be already a lot. So I think that'd be it. I've been curious about the French elections. There are 2 voting rounds. Sometimes something Australia doesn't have, and is that to prevent the tyrant ruling France tyrant have, much like what is happening in America. I think this was the A. Wasn't sure about. Yeah, the A. You don't make a liaison. So about the political elections, guys. In France, we have a president and we have a prime minister. So for us, we have there are two different people. For instance, in England, they just got a prime minister. But for us, this is not the case. We've got a president and prime ministers. So now we are choosing our president, and in a few months we're gonna choose our MPs, so les députés, as we call them, who are sieging at the Assemblée Nationale, which is the parliament, and there are 577 MPs, so députés as we call them, and they all represent a small part of France, which is called une circonscription. So this is circonscription is the small territories of it. Bon. And as I said, it's 577 députés. So now we're choosing the president. You can present yourself as a candidate. You can present yourself as a candidate, but for that you need to have a minimum of 500 signatures from mayors. So we have roughly in France 36,000 towns, cities, villages, and you know. So we have roughly 36,000 mayors. And in order to be a candidate for the presidency, for the presidential elections, you need to have 500 mayors who sign for you. So they will sign, give their name to support you. Most of the time, of course, they are from the same political party as you, but sometimes not necessary. Sometimes there are a lot of small mayors who represents very small villages who's got no political party. We call them the unlabeled, sans étiquette. Une étiquette is a label, so sans étiquette is unlabeled, and because they're so small that they got no political parties. And these small mayors, give their name to some, I would say, independent candidates and stuff like that. So it's 500 minimum, and this is to prevent some, I would say, very crazy candidature and crazy people. So that have kind of like scheme already a lot of craziness, and we have to have 500 signatures, as I said. So we end up in these elections this year. So we vote for the presidential elections in France every 5 years. So we call that un quinquennat. Quin is 5, quinquennat, yeah, quinq is 5. So quinquennat will means 5 years. So it's a 5 years term, yeah. And this time we had 11 candidates, 11. So we had Marine Le Pen, which is Front National, okay. Then we have Emmanuel Macron, who represents a movement called En Marche. Then we have Benoît Hamon, who is Parti Socialiste. Then we have François Asselineau, who represents a party called UPR, and he was for the Frexit. Then we have Jacques Cheminade. His political party was forgot what his political party was about again. I forgot the name of his political party. It's not that famous, to be fair. Forgot. Bon, Jacques Cheminade. Then we have Jean Lassalle. Okay, so it's more like rurality, small villages and stuff. Philippe Poutou, who is Nouveau Parti anti-capitaliste, so quite left. Her, who is Lutte Ouvrière, so that's a communist party as well. Nathalie Arthaud. Then we have Debout la France avec Nicolas Dupont-Aignan, who is right as well. François Fillon, who is from a party called Les Républicains, which is the right wing, so the equivalent of the conservative, like conservateur Tories in England, I would say, so right wing. And then Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who is left wing. So 11 candidates, and we end up with 2. So people voted for, people chose their candidate, and then the 2 main one, so the first and the second, are selected to go to the second round. And he was first, she was second. So now we're gonna vote again, and now we have to choose between him and her. So it has come to 2 different candidates. The man and woman you showed, I forget the name. I believe the man is more popular now. Yes. So we end up with what we. She's called Marine Le Pen. Marine Le Pen, and the guy is called Emmanuel Macron. Okay, and Emmanuel Macron has more people around him. Marine Le Pen, she's not really liked, I would say, because she's from a party with extreme right, and a lot of people are against extreme right. So she doesn't have a lot of people behind her. So it's kind of expected that Macron will win. Something like maybe 60-40 or 55-45. So we're almost sure that he will win, except, unless something very crazy happens, but we're almost sure he wins. But we don't know how much. So it may be 55-45 or 60-40 or even maybe more, I don't know. What we don't know though is for, as I said, for the deputy, for the MPs, because for the parliament, because he doesn't have a very strong political party behind him. So because he's fairly new, so he's not going to have a majority at the parliament, or at least he's going to struggle to have one. So it's going to be very interesting to see what les élections législatives, that's how we call them for the MPs, législatives. We have to see the outcome of these elections. That's going to be quite interesting to see how France will be ruled. And if he doesn't have a majority at the MPs elections, and if he has if another party has the majority, then they have to choose a prime minister from this political party. So we may have what we call une cohabitation, which means like the president is from one party and the prime minister is from another party, and they have to cohabitate. So it's like flat sharing, cohabitation. So you habit with someone. So it's habiter means to live, to cohabiter, so it's to live with. So they have to rule the country together. So there's a bit of friction sometimes because they're not from the same political party. And since Second World War, we had few cohabitation. We had 1, 2, I think we had 2 or eventually 3 maybe, but I think it's only 2. Yeah. I hope so, yes. I was sure Hillary would win here, but I woke up to Trump as my president, so it does happen sometimes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what people are saying, Janice. It may happen. She might win, but I don't think so. Not this time, but eventually in 5 years. If things are still the way they are in France, then people may vote for her in 5 years. So I think now it's the last elections that we have, during which I would say Marine Le Pen may still struggle to get elected, but definitely next time she will have more chance if things are not improving. So I think now is the last term that they have to sort out the country. Otherwise, I think she might get elected next time. So she's gaining like popularities up and up and up, like since now I would say 10 years, if not, yeah, 5 years. So since 5 years she's been drastically improving her results. So yeah, if it's not now, then it might be in 5 years if things are not improving drastically. So I think everybody's aware of that, really. So that's it about the presidential elections. We're gonna have, traditionally we have a debate between the two candidates. So the debate is gonna be, I think, next Thursday, but I'm not sure. And then we're gonna vote in roughly a week and a half now, once again, to choose between them. And then, as I said, we're gonna vote again for our MP, so to represent us at the parliament. So that's it about the political stuff that's happening in France right now. If Macron doesn't make changes, it will be easier for Le Pen to win the next election. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said, Stephen. I really think so as well. So I think everybody knows that now is the last chance they have if they want to sort out the problem. I bought Clé internationale progressive du français, débutant et intermédiaire. Can you please talk me through the débutant livre, s'il vous plaît? Hallie Wenden. What's grammaire progressive? Oh, grammaire, you said grammaire. Yes, grammaire. Betty, do you mind to give me my orange book in my bag, please?
Which one?
The orange one.
What?
It's big. No? So in the big bag? In my kilo bag? No? So Ali, is this one that you bought, yeah? It's grammaire progressive du français, and then well, it's pretty straightforward, I would say. You've got so it's by theme really, so it's by topic. So you've got like for instance here you've got adjectif possessif, mon m'a met, ton tâté, son sacé, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got a sheet of exercise next to it, and then you've got at the end of like here for instance we have what we call a bilan, which is like an overall exercises when in fact they test you on the things that were taught before, and that's it. And at the end you've got a bit of conjugation and grammatical rules as well, plus the conjugation of few verbs here and there. But the exercises are not corrected, so if you want, I can correct them for you. So you can just do your exercises, just either take a picture or whatever and just send it to me via my email, and then I can correct them. It takes me like 10 seconds to correct these exercises for you, so if you feel free to just let me know. And that's it really. It's a very good book. From 2012 to 2017, the political landscape changed. No one voted for the centre-left, or centre-left is crazy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. From 2012 to 2017, we had François Hollande, the actual president, and the current president, I would say. And the thing is, since his election, left wing, so Parti Socialiste, that's where it's from. Le Parti Socialiste lost all elections, so all of them. And the right wing won quite a lot, and FN, the Front National, so Marine Le Pen party, has won quite a lot of elections already, and they've been, as I said, they've been improving their score on and on and on. So since 2012, Marine Le Pen and the right wing are doing better and better. So it becomes very, very hard for the left, for Socialist. The Parti Socialiste has a lot of problem at the moment now. It used to be one of the main party in France, but now it's getting very, very. It's been completely broken now into pieces, and they really have to think about how to make it again and how to move on really. I feel like the differences in ideas changing all over the world. Big battle between left and right ideas. Merci Thomas, oui. Cheers for that. Your book is much more thicker than mine. Really? My book is much more thicker than mine. Really? Is it? I don't know. Maybe you bought the new versions, but I guess it's probably the same. I don't know. This one is kind of an old version. It's not the oldest, but it's 1997. No, maybe 2001. This one, so it's like 16 years ago. So it's slightly old. Could you please hold up the front cover of the orange book, please? This one. Mine says corrigé. Ah, but you bought the corrigé, so you bought the corrected version. So it's all the exercises, but the corrected one. So for instance, if you look at this page of exercises, then you're gonna have the corrections only. You don't have the book itself. So I think you just bought the corrected version. So the correction of the exercises, not the lessons and exercises themselves. That's why mine is much thicker than yours. I have my French final in a couple of days. Can you go over conditional conjugation, please? Yes, Abby, I can go over conditional conjugations, please. And how do you use du, au, un, dans? Okay, Dream Chaser. If you want, I've made a video on that already about du, de, la, des. So it's called partitif. So you can have a look at that. But what you have to know is that du, de, la, des. So if you have de plus then an article such as le cinéma, for instance, or la gare, or l'église, or les écoles. So for instance, if I say près de, so close to le cinéma, then you need to know that de plus le doesn't exist, so it becomes du. Okay? De la gare, that's fine. De l'église, that's fine as well. And you need to know as well that de plus les doesn't exist in French, and it becomes des. Okay, so près des écoles, près de l'église, that's fine. Près de la gare, that's fine. And près du cinéma. So that's du. Du, you need to know that it's de plus le, in fact. And des, you need to know that it's de plus les. And it's the same with a. Un plus le, it's in fact o. And a plus les, it's o, a, u, x. So that doesn't exist and that doesn't exist. It's o, o, o. Okay? So it's not really very hard. You just need to know that this word is in fact two words. And this word is in fact two words. You just need to know. That's it. De plus les doesn't exist. It has to be contracted. So they are contracted preposition and articles in one word. So yeah. Betty, do you want to switch on the lamp, please, for me? Yes. So I was talking about the conditional conjugations. You need to know about the conditionals. It's pretty easy. It's not easy, but it's pretty straightforward. It's the root of the future, so it's futur plus the endings of imparfait. That's the conditional. Right? So conditional is futur plus imparfait. Okay? So if you know your future and you know the endings of imparfait, then you'll be fine. Then you will be fine. So for instance, the future for the regular verbs is the full infinitive. Okay with that. So for instance, if you take habiter, then the full infinitive is habiter, and then you add the imparfait endings. The imparfait endings are AIS, AIS, AIT, IONS, IEZ, AIENT. These are the imparfait endings. I've made a video, in fact it was last Monday, about it. So yeah, plus as I said, the root of the future, which is in this context the full infinitive. So then it becomes j'habiterai, tu habiterais, il habiterait, nous habiterions, vous habiteriez, ils habiteraient. So this is the conditional. Yeah. For instance, être makes ser. Okay, so ser, and then with the endings. So je serai, tu serais, il serait, nous serions, vous seriez, and il serait. And this is the conditional. So if you know the future, if you know all the irregulars in the future will be irregular in the conditional, because as I said, you are using the future root in order to make the conditional. So you take what you needed to take to create the future, and then you just change the endings. Instead of putting the future endings, you put the imparfait endings, which are EIS, EIS, EIT, IONS, IZ, EINT. And of course you don't pronounce these last letters here. So it's je serais, tu serais, il serait, nous serions, vous seriez, il serait. And this is the conditional present. So this is something that will happen in the future. No, the conditional doesn't happen in the future. So this is how to make the conditionals. And I think you're okay with the construction, the mechanic of it. If not, just let me know and I will kind of talk a bit more about it. But just to move on the conditional, then when do you use it? What is the context? Most of the time the conditional is used with obviously a condition. So it's exactly like in English. By the way, conditional in English, it will be translated in, I would say you will use 3 words to translate the conditional in English. It would be would, it would be could, or it would be should. These are mainly the 3 translations that you have in English for the conditional. So if you see would, if you see could, or if you see should, then the chances are that it has to be conditional. Okay? So for instance, I would be is the verb to be in the conditional. So as I said, I, je, serai. Yeah? So this is for would. Could is could is pouvoir in the conditional. So could is pouvoir in the conditional. If we talk about this conditional, yeah. So I could be. It has to be pouvoir. Hein? So je pourrais être. Je pourrais être. Okay. So this is pouvoir in the conditional. And if you have should, I should be, then is devoir in the conditional, so je devrais être. Huh? Because should is devoir in the conditional, and could is pouvoir in the conditional, and would is just the conditional of your verb. So, as I said, you use it like in English. So, for instance, in English, you would say, if I had money, I would buy a car. Yeah. So if you translate that in French, si j'avais de l'argent, j'achèterais une voiture. Okay. So if you look at the mechanic, in English you've got past tense here, you got perfect, and then you have would plus your infinitive, and in French we have imparfait, and after this imparfait sentence you have here conditional présent. Okay, and here the conditional present, here it does explain the fact that this will happen, or this would happen, if the condition is met. So if the condition is met, if that happens, then this happens. Okay, so this is the condition for that to happen. So if I had money, I would buy a car. Yeah? So si j'avais de l'argent, j'achèterais une voiture. And that's what you're saying when you're saying I would like a beer, please. You are implying a condition. I would like a beer, please, if you don't mind, if that's okay for you. So you imply the condition. Sometimes the condition is not said, like exactly on my example that I just said now. I would like a beer. In fact, you don't say if you don't mind. It's kind of implied. That's why it's polite, because you put a condition. Yeah. So it's not I want a beer, which is dead and over. I want a beer, end of the story. Here is I would like a beer. So it's conditional because you imply a condition, which is hidden. If you don't mind, if that's okay for you, if I could, da da da. So we have the same idea here. Si j'avais de l'argent, this is the condition, and if the condition here is met, then this will happen. Little complex but seems so simple. Sorry Thomas. Sorry Denise. A light bulb went off in my head. Good. So that's it. And you don't have future in the conditional, okay? So it's just conditional present or conditional past. And that's it, really. But the conditional mood, because it's a mood, it's not a tense, it's a mood. So it's like a family of tenses. And you have present and past of this mood, this mode, as you call it in French. So this mode, conditional, is not so hard in terms of, like, if you know your future and if you know your imparfait, as I explained, then it's pretty easy to produce it. Yeah? You find. If you don't know your future and if you don't know your imparfait, then of course, well, now it becomes a bit more like a problem. But if you know your conjugation, then you find. Let me just check if there is in this book. I don't think there is conditional here. I'm pretty sure they aren't. They're not. The condition is not there. But no, it's in the how do you call it? It's in the intermediate. Yeah. But yeah. So that's it really for the conditional. I mean, I can talk about the conditional if you want and explain more and more, but I would say for now I think that would be enough, unless you want to know something very specific, and I can answer that. But otherwise, it's pretty much it really. It's pretty straightforward. Wow, I understand a lot better now, merci, de rien. Would, should, could confuse me because it's like a tense instead of a single word like in English. Okay, so let me explain you something maybe about English. I don't know, a lot of you are not English, so I'm a bit sorry, but English is the medium that we have between us, so that's the common language we have, so I need to all the time refer to English, which is a bit tricky, but I think it is important as well to know what we're doing. So I don't know if you realize that, but in English when you say I would go, as I said, this is conditional, okay? I would go implies a condition. It's exactly here. I would go if I could. I would go if you don't mind. I would go blah blah blah. So I would go, okay? So it's the verb in French. If you see would, you're like, okay, bing, conditional. So what verb? To go. Aller. So it's the conditional present of the verb aller. So in French, j'irai. Okay, this is the conditional present of the verb aller. J'irai. Oh. So that's pretty easy, I mean fairly easy. Then we have I should go. As I said, should is you need in your head as soon as you think should, you need to bling, realize that it's the verb devoir in conditional plus your verb. Okay, don't forget the last verb, of course. So devoir in the conditional is devrait. So je devrais aller, blah blah blah. I should go, je devrais aller. Okay? Then the trick is could. I could go. Could is pouvoir plus your verb. So it's pouvoir in the conditional plus your verb. Okay? So je pourrais aller. Okay? Why did I say that could is a bit tricky? Because could in English, and that's where I don't know if you realize that, but in English could means two things. Either it's a conditional or it could be past as well. Past of can. So in present tense you're saying I can go, and you could say before when I was young I could go. And here there's nothing about conditional, it's just a past. So I could go in the past, I was able to go, I could go. So now when you're going to translate that into French, you won't use the conditional, you will use the imparfait. because you explain a habit, you explain something that was possible in the past. So in English, when you're saying I could go when I was 10, I could go to the swimming pool, whatever. Then here is just pure imparfait. There's no condition applied. This is different than when you are using could in this idea of condition. If I had money, I could go to Japan. Now it's a conditional in French because it's something different in English. What you're saying? You're saying here that if the condition is met, if me having money happens, then I will, or happened, then I would have enough money to buy, and I would go to Japan. So I could go to Japan. So here the could means would be able to, rather than before it was I was able to. That's why I always advise my students to use the verb to be able to in English and not can or could, because can or could it's not a verb, so it's hard to translate the model word into verbs and into tenses in French. We need to know what we translate. So instead of using can or could, you need to ask yourself, okay, if I use the verb to be able to, what is it? I can go present tense, I could go past tense. In fact, that is I was able to go. Then you know it's imparfait. If you're saying if I had money I could go to Disneyland, then that is I would be able to. And now you know it's a conditional, so in French you will translate into conditionals. So it's the same word in English, but in fact it means grammatically it's not the same word, so obviously you're going to have two different translations in French. So you need to know what you're translating, and you need to ask yourself first the question in English. When I'm saying could, am I saying would be able to? Or am I saying was, were able to? Because you're not going to have the same translation in French. Here you're going to have a conditional, and you're going to have a past tense. Imparfait, most of the time. Yeah. So, I have the corrigé version of the clears as well. Okay, that's good. Then if you got the corrigé, even better. Intermediate, I mean. Oh, okay, so you bought the intermediate as well. So you just have the corrigé. Well, then buy the regular book, and then you will be sorted. What is this book? Oh, it's just this one. She's talking about that book, which is called Grammaire progressive du français. And you got like a lesson here, and then sheets of exercises here. It's pretty good. I use that for my lessons. Yes, tricky. Yes, it is a bit tricky, but nonetheless, it has to be sorted in your mind, and then little by little try to know what you translate. So translate it from English to French is fine, but you need to know what you're translating, and you need to know what you're saying first. You can't just say things in English without knowing what you're saying, because you won't be able to translate them properly in French. So you have to be clear in your mind that when you are using could, for instance, you need to know what you are saying. Otherwise, it becomes a big mess. How I use the imperative, I guess, in the past tense. Imperative in the past tense. Don't worry about this past imperative. To be fair, l'imperative is for orders, and when you give an order, it's obviously in the present tense. So don't worry about this past imperative. Really, imperative is pretty straightforward. Straightforward. No, it's not straightforward, because with pronominal verbs and stuff like that, it becomes a bit tricky as well. But I would say for the imperative, if you are using it in past tense, in the present tense, sorry, it's obviously present tense because you give an order. We use imperative when we give orders. Okay, so eat, don't do this, go there, don't go there, these kind of things. And of course, when I give orders to someone, it's always in the present tense. So just learn the present imperative, and you'll be fine. Really. All right. So I hope I haven't confused you too much about my small conditional thing, but this idea of would, should, could, things like that. But yeah. Yes. Yeah. So imperative, yeah. So don't worry. I know imperative past exists, but don't worry about that. Just focus on the present, and that's more than enough, really. Okay, I forgot who asked me about the conditional for your test, but I hope you find. If not, let me know and I try to explain you. Others as well, if you want to ask any questions, anything, please feel free. Feel free to ask me. Let me know what you want to talk about. Yes, it really helped me, thanks. Okay, Abby, you have to be careful when you spell the conditional, because on the if I say j'irai with an S, that's conditional. If I say j'irai without the S, that's the future. So this is the conditional, this is the future. Huh? They have the same root, as I said, ir, but then the endings is different. The ending of future, it's this is the endings of future. Okay, the ending of conditional, as I said, are the same as the ending of the imperfect. So it's AIS, AIS, AIT, IONS, IZ, AINT. So as you can see here, the only difference between this one and this one is the S. So if you don't write the S, then it's the future. I will go. And here, if you put the S, then it's I would go. So be careful about that. For two, is quite different. There is A, there is A, there is A, there is A as well. And then here we come again. We have a slight difference on the oral. So for instance, here would be nous irons. We will go. Nous irons. And here is nous irions. We would go. So again, you need to stress this I in order to make it clear. Like in English, you'd say I will go or we would go. It could be very subtle. But if you want to be a bit more sure, then you're saying we will go and we would go. Then we know what you're saying. So here's the saying nous irons or nous irions. Vous irez or vous iriez. So be careful about the A as well. And then on A, that's quite different. So be careful about the spelling and be careful how you pronounce it as well. The first ones are pronounced the same. It's just the difference is just when you're writing. So be careful about that. Really help. Okay, not confused, but this is solely a concept that I have to digest. Yeah, and watch again later. I have got Becherel la grammaire, but I don't know how to use it. Becherel la grammaire. Okay, Becherel la grammaire is slightly hard for I would say foreigners. Where is it? It's not here. I don't have it here. But yeah, because it's written in French, so it's not very easy to learn French with it, I would say. I advise you more, guys, to buy, if you want to buy grammar books, it's good to buy grammar books meant for English speakers, or I don't know if you speak another language, if let's say you Spanish or Italian or whatever, then then buy a book that is written in Italian or in Spanish. It will be easier for you to understand, really. It's always easier to learn the grammar of a language if it's written in your own language, I would say, than to learn French in the same time as you learn French grammar. Then it becomes very tricky. So the Becherel la grammaire is not easy. Conjugaison is much easier to use and it's in fact much better to buy. But grammaire is a bit tricky. Yes, another light bulb. I see the difference clearly now. Okay, avoir endings. I guess you just become clearer with practice and actually speaking often. Yeah, of course, Denzel. I mean, you know, it's always the same thing. You know, in terms of working out and for anything really. If you're talking about you know, to make muscles in the gym or French or a lot of different activities that you can do in life, you realize actually it's the regularity that pays off. It's not to do like a bulky session of 2 hours of French and then for 1 month you don't open a book. That's useless. Like, you better do nothing at least instead, because seriously that will be just a waste of time. So it works like that. You learn something, then it goes up, and then eventually it will go down because you will forget. And the more you will try to work it out, then it goes like that until the moment when you remember it forever. So this is the moment when you learn, and that's fine. So it goes down, and every single time you learn pop, it goes up, and then pop, it goes up, and then pop, it goes up, and as you can see, it drops less and less, and then you remember more and more. Okay, but at first it goes quite high straight away. As soon as you learn it, boom, that's it, you understand. But then it drops very fast as well. I mean, if it's a very new concept, I guarantee you that after one week you just already don't remember it. But so the more you see it, the more you repeat, then the easier it becomes, because then it becomes more and more sunk and solid. So if you just do, like, if you learn something and then it goes down, then you learn it again, then eventually it will drop and then you will forget again. So the regularity pays off. Not necessarily to do like, you better, because you know that when you start to learn, you work on your French, you realize actually you don't remember, you don't understand necessarily perfectly, and you don't remember everything that you learn. Let's say you're learning a bit of vocab. How many words will you remember? 10, max 15 if you got a very good memory. But over 15 it becomes quite hard to remember, you know, and to really remember properly the masculin, féminin, the spelling, what it means in English, how to translate from English to French, French to English, becomes tricky more than 15 really. But if you do it a bit every time, let's say every day you open your French book for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, then let's say every day you learn 2 words, then at the end of the week it's 14 words that you know properly. Okay, if you say 3 words per day, then it's 21 words every week. Now if you do 15, then you do 15, so it's better to do 21 than 15, that's what I want to say. And then if you try to learn 15 words in one go, then I guarantee you that the week after you won't remember, maybe you will remember maybe, I don't know, 7 of them out of 15. You just remember 7, and in 2 weeks time, if you don't revise, then it will be just 3, it will just ticked up. So the more you open your books, the more even if you learn 1 word, 2 words, then it's always something. There's always something. So repetition is much better than just doing like, okay, now I'm gonna learn French and that's it, I'm not gonna do anything for 5 hours, because then the right moment is there's a saturation in the brain. The brain can't cope with all this amount of information. So it's better to do small bits, but like edible bits, rather than trying to eat a cow in one setting, you know, like better to eat small steaks than the massive cow. So the same with French. As I said to my students, you won't put an elephant in a fridge in one setting, yeah? You need to cut your elephant in small parts and little by little put it in the fridge. You won't try to cram the elephant in the fridge, it doesn't work. So it's the same, you won't put all French language in your brain in one setting. So don't do big bulky lessons, just do small ones instead. That's much better. Beşiktaş conjugation comes in English addition do. Yeah. But I just bought it from the French Institute. Okay, good. But the tricky thing is how the French speak. I understand the just a spoken sentence, but not always individual words spoken so fast. Exactly, Denzel. But that's the practice for you. You know, when I first arrived, I explained that many times. But when I first arrived here in England, I struggled a lot to understand people. And actually, I tried when I was, you know, sitting on the bus or on the train, whatever, the tube. I was trying to listen to what people were saying next to me. Like I could hear 2 people talking, and I was like, okay, let's try to sneak a bit on them and try to understand what they were saying. Couldn't guess. When I was just switch on the radio, it was very hard for me to get the gist of what's been said. But now I just switch on, even if I don't know what they're talking about. Instantly I know what they're talking about because I'm used to it. But it takes time. It takes practice. So it's very hard. And of course, French people, they don't speak at normal speed. What I mean by that is they don't speak like in a very nice speed, using very correct expressions and stuff. I mean, they speak French without learning French, you know what I'm saying? So it's very kind of like in one go, beam, they're just using expressions. Some of them are not necessarily all the time grammatically correct. They speak very fast, a lot of slang, a lot of small expressions, a lot of idioms, a lot of stuff. If you're not aware of these things, your French may be good, but you may struggle to understand them. So it's really a practice by itself, just to try to get native speakers ready. EasyToLearn French website, look through their website. Yeah. I try to watch native French YouTubers without subtitles so I can understand what it says, but not the individual wording, if that makes sense. Yeah, you will understand the gist, but not necessary individual words. And yeah, again, you know, by practicing and by learning French, obviously, the more you learn, the more you will understand, right? But the more you practice as well. So you see, that's a good thing that you're doing. Watching French, native French YouTubers, that's already a good thing, because that's part of the practice. And maybe you will understand one word, maybe you will understand one sentence, maybe you will be like, hey. And actually, without realizing it, then you realize that, hey, hold on, I've been watching now these YouTubers without subtitles now. Hey, that's cool. You know, it was impossible for me a few months ago, and now it's possible. So you can see the practice. So that's already part of the practice, which is good. Yes, for me, I have been stuck at the same spot for the last 2 months using my exercise app. Says I know 950 something French word, but I'm still working on conquering all new words I already know. Interesting to know, Tom, is the same both ways. Yeah, oh yeah, same for everybody. French Talks Radio has been helping me hear the language. Most time I have no ideas what they are talking about, but I can pick up small sentences. Yeah, that's good. And again, don't forget YouTube. There's a lot of YouTube videos made by native French speakers, and these things can really help you a lot. And of course, first you may struggle. There's a lot of slang, there's a lot of things and things like that. But little by little, it does add up, and it does teach you. That teaches you French as a spoken language, not necessarily the French from books. Can you teach us some common French idioms, please? Yeah. What about hearing songs every day? Very good as well. I mean, everything is a practice, so there's no bad practice. Everything is a practice. So the more you practice, the better it is. I never seen someone failing when that person practice. Never. And I can guarantee you that 100 people, if you take 100 good students, what I mean by good students is like people who speak a very good level, like their French is quite good, high standards. All of them have been working on the French. There's not like this intuitive, oh, that's it, one day you wake up, bing, you bang your head on the door and suddenly you speak French. Doesn't exist, okay? Like I can guarantee you that all of my students who have a good level, all of them work, and they really worked hard. And they opened books every day, and they went into the hardcore mode of learning. There's no way you learn the language without putting the effort. It's not intuitive for nobody. It is intuitive. And really, I can guarantee you that I worked a lot on my English, and people around me who are speaking English, they've been working as well. And it's easier for us because we're living in the country as well. But I can guarantee you that people who speak decent French, they've been working hard. They've been working very hard. I used to live with a flatmate. He was Japanese. His French is amazing, but he worked so hard. He's very dedicated. So you have to be diligent as well. There's no easy things. You know what I mean? It has to be a hard work. I have really no questions. Happy to hear everyone's ideas and questions. Meeting people, la bise, etiquette when meeting a French person, different from men and women. When you meet them for the first time, if you know them, it is always practice. Yes, it's always practice. It depends about la bise. Very quickly, if I can talk about that, and then I try to teach you some idioms. About la bise, so you kiss people if you meet them for the first time, of course not professionally. If it's very a formal context, you don't. If it's a non-formal context, you do. If you meet, especially if girls between them, so ladies, and guys with ladies, then you don't necessarily kiss. In some region, they don't at all kiss between men. I do because I'm from South, and from South people kiss. So I will kiss my very good friends. I will kiss my brother, my father. But I won't kiss just a friend. I would say I'll just shake his hand. But if they are my best friends, as I said, family members, we do kiss each other. In some region, they don't. Among friends, they don't. They just shake their hands. But with ladies, with women, then we do kiss them. Then how can I say, we kiss when we when we greet, okay, so to say hi. But when we leave, it depends. But we do kiss each other as well when you leave each other. Now, as I said, if it's like a work environment, it depends of your work and the formality of your work environment. But people don't necessarily kiss in a work environment. But otherwise, if it's informal meeting, then you do, yeah, you do. Combien-de-bises.com, exactly. There is this website called combien-de-bises.com, and it teaches you how many kisses you have to do depending on the region. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 2. It's a bit complicated. Of the following, if there's any that you recommend of tracing to avoid in translating from French. Of the following, if there's any that you recommend or suggest to avoid in translating from French. Amazing for the busy according to original. I mean, if there are any that you recommend or suggest to avoid in translating from French to learn French. Le Petit Prince, Le Petit Nicolas, t'as un book. When he sees Le Petit Nicolas is amazing. Really, le petit Nicolas, it's very good. I use it a lot, not a lot, but I use it in my class. It's a very good book. The French is correct, but yet not too hard, and it teaches you a lot of everyday life words, and the way it's kind of written, it's pretty, like, construction are pretty interesting, and to be fair, it's very authentic French, I would say. So I suggest that this book is very good, Nicolas, and the quality of it as well is that there are short stories, so you don't work on the same story for like ever and ever. You can do like few pages, so it's pretty rewarding. You finish it, you understand it, you laugh because it's good fun, and that's it. Then you move on to another story. So it's not like working on the same book for on and on and on and on and on, and it becomes very, very boring. At a moment, it may be boring. So I suggest Le Petit Nicolas, which is very great. And there are Le Petit Nicolas. There are free versions. If you put Le Petit Nicolas, okay, so Le Petit Nicolas PDF on Google, then it's gonna give you PDF of Petit Nicolas for free. So it's pretty good to try. And there's a lot of conditionals. There's a lot of past tenses and stuff. So it's pretty advanced. I mean, it's not too advanced, but it's good French. It's pretty authentic French. Of course, it's written for French people, so it's pretty. It's a good material. So I use that a lot. You do need to have a level, I would say. It's quite demanding, but I think Craig, I think you're quite already intermediate, advanced level, so it will be good for you, for sure. Nicolas, yes, and the stories are funny too. Yeah, for me, they are beautiful. I mean, the Petit Nicolas makes me laugh a lot. It's very, very cool. It's very, very nice. About the idioms, I've been asked to teach you idioms. It's always hard to teach idioms because there are so many that, in fact, there's none in my mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like so many that I don't know what to pick. I don't know what to choose. What can I say? Idioms about what? Can you explain why de isn't with verb être? So the person who asked me idioms, could you tell me what kind of idioms you want? So related to what topic, for instance? Is it time? Is it dates? Is it or with friends, or when we greet people, or no, or something like that? Just to narrow it down just a bit, it might be easier for me to think, and I'm still thinking about it, and I try to get them in my mind. Now, Do asked me, can you please explain why de isn't with verb être? I'm not sure what you want to say here. Why de isn't with verb être? Why? What is the question? Idioms about home. Okay, Ali, I can. And about Jules Verne's book. Jules Verne is pretty good as well, but that's much more. That's higher level. If you can read Jules Verne, then that's fine. But that's meant for French people and kids, teenagers, I would say. So the French is already quite good, and it's a bit old-fashioned. So the French is it's quite high standards. So if you can read it, beautiful. But they are a bit more advanced book. So I'm not sure about this de plus verbe être plus de. Can you just explain what you want to say by that do, please? And then to answer the idioms. Idioms about home. Okay. So first about home, you have to use chez. Okay, that's something that is totally underused by foreigners. Really, you don't use chez often. Not enough. So in my place, at home, at mine is chez. Chez plus either chez moi, chez toi, and blah blah blah. So this is the tonic pronouns that you use after chez. If you don't know what a tonic pronoun is, I've made a video about that. So check the video called tonic pronouns. Chez. Or you can have a proper name after. So chez Thomas, chez blah blah blah. Okay, chez mon frère, in my brother's place. So that's already an idiom specific to French, I would say. You just put chez, and that means in place. Okay, so as I said, that's not used enough, in my opinion. So use that tool a lot because it's very easy to use and it's very authentic. Chez. Then you could say à la maison. That would be at home as well, à la maison. So viens à la maison, comme at home. Okay. Then what expressions could I say about house or flat? Idioms about house. Don't really know what to say. What about the I mean in negative form. Please refresh some filler words, enfin quoi, to help string sentences seamlessly. Yeah. Okay, Denzel, I'll talk about this afterwards. I mean in negative forms. Être, there's no de in negative forms. I don't understand the question. Être is, for instance, je suis, and if you want to negate that, is je ne suis pas. So I don't see the de here. I don't understand the de. It's just that negation works exactly as in another verb. You've got the verb here and the negation sign, which is the verb. Je suis, je ne suis pas. So I don't see where the de and the negation around. I don't see the idea of de plus negation. Try to think what you want to say, but I'm not so sure about the question there. About these idioms. So à la maison, chez moi, what else I could say? Oh my god, I'm so bad at finding idioms. You know what, I'm gonna check online. Let me check a bit of idioms online, maybe they have some. Expression, maison. Maybe they have, and I can explain them as they come. Parler de corps, on va parler. Well, there's not lots really. Well, yeah, talking about the expressions, we're saying une maison close. Sorry, it was on the website. Une maison close. That's a brothel. Yeah, you got prostitutes. Maison close, so it's a closed house. So if it's closed, you understand what that means. So a maison close, yeah, it's a brothel. So that was for the thing. Otherwise, there was. So what was the other expressions? There's not a lot really. Things are not necessarily said. What would be the other one? Maison. Ah yeah, un pâté de maison, that's true, un pâté de maison, un pâté de maison, un pâté de maison, it's like several houses making like a block of house, I would say, on the street. So if you look at the map and you see big streets, especially in US or in some places like that, you've got the streets like that, and then you've got houses here, then you've got another street here, then you've got houses there, so there's houses here, mini houses here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, whatever. Ça, c'est un pâté de maison. Un pâté de maison. Sounds a bit bizarre because there's pâté and everybody's like, is pâté not the thing that you spread on your bread? And I'm saying yes. But pâté de maison, it's as well, I would say, block of house. So, not necessarily a block of house, but a block of house. But several houses like that. That would be un pâté de maison. Yeah. So, relationship idioms. Ouais. Bah, être en couple, to be in couple. Être en couple. Sortir avec quelqu'un. So, if you date someone, you sors avec quelqu'un. So, sortir avec quelqu'un. Sortir avec. So, it's to date with. So, to go out with. So, if you go out with someone, that means you date that person. So, sortir avec. Je sors avec. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then relationship. There's a difference in French between un ami and un copain. Un copain. Yeah, un ami, un copain. So un ami, it's a friend. Copain, it's more like how do you call it? That's a bit more a good friend, a close friend. Copain is more like a friend. So ami is a bit more serious, like the relationship is bit like close friend. Copain is just copain copine, yeah. So yeah. Then copain, home away from home. A bloc, yeah, a bloc. I can't say je ne suis pas de petite fille. Ah, ok, ok, understand. Yes, non. Copain, acquaintance, yeah, une acquaintance, une acquaintance, yes. But, un copain. But, it's, so, un copain, un copain, une copine, ouais. But, yeah, une acquaintance, but yeah, acquaintance. Yeah, okay, yeah. Copain is someone that you know. You may take few beers with that person, but nothing really, nothing more than that. An ami is like a bit more like a close friend. Yeah. So yes. What was the question? Yes. Do. You don't use de. No. De means I would say some. So if you want to say some in English, for instance, je mange de la viande. I'm eating meat, I eat some meat, okay? But when you're saying je suis une fille, there's no de here. It's not I am some girl, it's just I am a girl. That's it. So je suis une fille. So that becomes je ne suis pas une fille. Yeah, so there's no de here. With être, no de. So yeah, you're right, no de after following être. Yeah. How do you say no place like home and home away from home? No place like home? I don't know. We don't say this. No place like home. No place like home. Don't really know. Really, nothing really. What would you translate? I don't think there's a French. Yeah, there's not really any. There's no really. It's nothing like that. Like no place like home. I would say the thing that pops to my mind. On est bien chez soi. One is well at one's home. That's what we may say. But so yeah, that's something that we may say. Otherwise, not really. It's a bit bizarre. And a girlfriend or boyfriend who are dating is called copain copine. A girlfriend or boyfriend if you have a certain age. I mean, if you're quite young, then if you're dating someone, boyfriend or girlfriend, it would be mon copain, ma copine. Okay. Now, if I don't know, if you are divorced and you are 50 years old and you are dating someone, that's not copain copine. Sounds very young. So that's kind of for teenagers, young adults. Mon copain, ma copine. But so yeah, merci. I think we are thinking alike there, James. Can you break down je t'emmerde for me, please? If you should make little French in English. Rien ne vaut son chez soi. Yeah, that could work. Rien ne vaut son chez soi. That could work, but don't know, it's not really said. I mean, maybe by other people, but not really. Rien ne vaut son chez soi. It's correct though. It's correct and translate. I mean, totally fine. Rien ne vaut son chez soi. Nothing is worth more than in one's place. But yeah, that's accepted. But it's not really an expression that we say that often, really. About je t'emmerde. Okay, about je t'emmerde. So, emmerder, literally. So I don't know if you know, but merde means shit. Okay. So emmerder. It means to cover in shit. So when you're saying je t'emmerde, it's like I cover you. So it's the idea of I don't know what to say, not to be too rude, but the idea of yeah, I F you. So it's the idea of like I F you, so I cover you in. Yeah. So this is one of the meaning. So I cover you of it, meaning I've got no sympathy for you, so therefore F you. Which is different than je m'emmerde. Because if you're saying je m'emmerde, that means I cover myself of some, and that means to get bored. So if you are bored, then you could say je m'emmerde. I'm getting bored, so I cover myself. Yeah. But if you say I emmerde you, so je t'emmerde, then it becomes fu. So this is the particularity of emmerder. Emmerder by itself, it means to annoy someone. So if you cover someone of shit, then you annoy that person. So I can say, for instance, tu m'emmerdes. You annoy me. That would be very, very rude. Huh? So if someone annoys you a lot, bothers you a lot, it's really like, then you could say, tu m'emmerdes. Yeah. So that you annoy me. But if I say to someone, je t'emmerde, then it's not like I annoy you, it's fu. But if you use it in the pronominal form, in the reflexive form, then it will be I annoy myself, so I am annoyed. Okay, so I'm bored, I'm annoyed. It's annoying, it's boring. Yeah. Would it be the same as fu in English? Yeah. That would be the same as fu in English. So if I want to say fu in English, then it would be yeah, je t'emmerde. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the translations. You should teach us swear words, phrases. Yeah, well, I can. I don't know if YouTube will allow that, but I may be censored. But to my acquaintances, to me, acquaintance is someone who you know with perhaps in common passing, but don't really know their life interest. But a girlfriend, boyfriend, someone's good. Yes, that's the idea between acquaintance and acquaintances. Un copain is a bit more than acquaintance. Un copain, it's a friend. But it's not a good friend. It's just a friend. Just someone that you know. You go out. You may know him well, but it's not one. It's not like someone that you know. It's not as a good friend, a close friend. That would be more an ami. Okay, so if I'm talking about mon ami, then it becomes something a bit more serious than mon copain, un copain. Okay, if I say to my girlfriend, oh, j'ai un copain qui passe à la maison. There's a friend who comes home, yeah, just to pass by and have a beer. Okay, she expects someone that I know, maybe a colleague, like a school, yeah, maybe school, or maybe a work colleague. That's un copain, someone that I like, it's just a friend. More than an acquaintance, a friend. Mon ami passe à la maison. Okay, she can expect someone a bit close to me. Yeah. You are interested in sexually and you are dating, but not necessarily sexually interesting and dating. That's the thing. We're using this word for people who you are dating and like that, but not necessarily. I could have une copine or un copain as a female friend or a male friend. It's not very as close as ami, which implies the idea that it's a bit more ami. And girlfriend could be a petite amie, yes, as well. So mon petit ami, ma petite amie could be girlfriend, boyfriend as well. So doesn't really matter. Mon copain, ma copine, mon petit ami, ma petite amie. That's pretty much the same thing. Boyfriend, girlfriend. But when you just sign friend, then mon ami, mon copain. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot to ask me about je t'emmerde, but is that a bit more clear now? This idea of emmerder, which is to M. So M implies the idea of to put it in. Yeah. So to put in. So to put in shit. That's the idea. Yes, thank you. Okay. Good. Good, good. And guys, I think we're gonna stop it here because I need to go slightly before 4, and I realize now it's already 3:52. So like we got few minutes and that's it. Really, we have to stop. Fillers, quoi, enfin. Oh, Denzel, I forgot. Okay, I'm gonna do that very quickly. So je t'emmerde is an ingredient. Yes, je t'emmerde is quite rude. I mean, if you're saying je t'emmerde to someone, it depends what you're saying. If it's a very good friend, you know, among friends, we're a bit vulgar. We can be rude to some friends. And if someone really annoys me, then you could say, oh là, tu m'emmerdes. Yeah, or oh, je t'emmerde. Mais it's kind of like, that's what I would say to my friends, but because we like to tease each other and we can be rude to each other, we know we don't mean it. But if you say that to someone, and, I don't know, you're on the road and someone's almost, you know, touched your car, almost crashed in your car, and then you blah, 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 and then be like, oh, je t'emmerde. Okay, that's like saying F word to that person, so you can expect someone like won't be necessarily happy. That's rude. That's very rude. What you call someone you have been with for a long time but not married. That's always a problem. If you are with someone but not married, then you will be mon partenaire. But partenaire implies that you are homosexual in French. If I say mon partenaire, then you can expect a man, not a woman. So otherwise, I would say, if you're my age, I would say mon copain, ma copine. Yeah. Mon ami could be as well, imply that, okay, it's my girlfriend. Or mon compagnon, compagne, ma compagne, mon compagnon. That would be, compagnon, or compagne. That's the word we are using if you have already, I don't know, if you're like 40 or above, or 35 above, something like that. Compagnon, compagne. So that would be my partner. Yeah. But if you're using partner, mon partenaire, then it implies that you are homosexual. So yeah. Cool, thank you. Don't be late next time. Yeah, I'll try not to be. I just changed my setting. I've got a new camera, and it was a bit. Just for curiosity, is it mandatory to vote in France? No, it's not. It's not mandatory to vote in France. So you can stay home, and we have an expression: if you stay home for the election day, you're saying that you go fishing. So je vais à la pêche. Je vais à la pêche. So if you're saying you don't go to vote, then you're saying je vais à la pêche. If you go à la pêche, it means I'm going fishing. So if you go fishing on the election day, that means you don't want to vote for anybody, and you're not voting. The filler words. We got several filler words. I'm gonna give you some here, and then we start next Thursday. We start from these Denzel. But we have d'abord. Okay, d'abord. First, d'abord. Bla 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 bla. Ensuite, then. You can have puis. Puis means then as well. So d'abord, ensuite, puis, and then to finish, you could say enfin. Finally, enfin. Okay? Then, something else that you could say d'un côté. D'un côté. One hand. D'un autre côté. On the other hand. Okay? So d'un côté, from one side, from the other side, from another side. So it's this idea of from one hand, from the other hand, yeah? So d'un côté, blah blah blah, but d'un autre côté, blah 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 blah, yeah? So that could be, that articulate your thought process, and it's easier for the other person to understand what you want to say, yeah? D'un côté, blah blah blah, d'un autre côté, blah blah. From one hand, blah blah blah, from the other hand, blah blah blah. D'abord, I say this first, ensuite, then, puis, then as well, so it's pretty similar. And then we have enfin, finally. De plus. Yeah, de plus, moreover, in addition, de plus. Alors. therefore, so, as a consequence. We have donc, which are similar as well. Donc means therefore as well, it means so, donc. What else? We've got plenty. Then we have mais, but, car, because, so it's another parce que. Mais, car. Sauf. Sauf means except. Yeah, I would say that's it for now. And definitely next time I'll give you a proper list and we can work on them. So I'll give you a big list and you will be able to work on them. So come in next time and for sure I will give. Yeah. Don't be late next time. Cool, I'm missing sure, so I will keep that in mind. Okay, so partenaire is the word for you. I'm off to bed now. Merci, à bientôt. Okay. Thank you, looking forward to more practice and lessons. Merci, à bientôt. Merci pour votre temps. Pas de problème. Plaisir. Guys, once again, thank you very much for all of you who support the channel, support me through the donation, through the Patreon page. It's very, very nice of you. I strongly appreciate that, as you can imagine. We're having a lesson on Sunday from 3:30 to 4:30 via Skype. You can go on the website EasyToLearnFrench.com, then book your lesson. You'll just pay £5 as a fee to access the lesson. Then you add me on Skype. I add you on Skype. We become Skype friends. Woohoo! And then you can join us for this small lesson. So we'll try to play by ear a bit and see who's there, and then we'll try to have a lesson. But the particularity of the lesson is, like, for instance, when I do lives, I can't hear you. I can see what you're writing, but I can't hear what you're saying. Via Skypes, what is good is, like, I can hear you. So we try to do a conference call, having a lot of people together, and then we try to organize. Of course, it's easier to do this if you've got a computer. If you're on your phone or on your tablet, it's a bit harder. But try to, if you're interested in that, book, and it's a maximum of 5 students. So for Sunday, I've got already 2 students booked in. So if you want to join us up, feel free to add, but know that I can't go over 5. Okay, so I hope everything is fine. As I said, thank you very much for the support and everything. Watch the video that you haven't watched on the channel already, and if you got new questions on Thursday, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And then that's it. Merci and au revoir.